You know, ghost stories are supposed to scare us, right? But the really good ones, they do more than that. They tell us something true about ourselves. We're going to dive into a story today that's less about a phantom on a highway and way more about the ghosts we carry inside us and the real price of making things right. So imagine this. You're a truck driver named Jagannath, and those are the words you scream yourself awake with every single night. Yeah, he's trapped in this awful recurring nightmare. And the scariest part? It feels a little too real. See, for the last 10 years, Jagannath has really tried to turn his life around. He's sober, he's a good guy, completely reformed. But it doesn't matter. Every night, the moment he closes his eyes, there she is, a woman with these empty, hollow sockets where her eyes should be, and she's holding this bloody bundle. He just can't shake the feeling that something from his past is catching up to him. And, well, he's right. That feeling is about to get very, very real. Okay, so this is where his nightmare literally starts bleeding into his waking life. And of course, it all kicks off on a dark and stormy night. Classic, right? It all comes down to one single choice that's about to unravel everything. I mean, this scene is straight out of a horror movie. You've got Jagannath driving his big rig through this insane storm on a totally deserted highway. And get this, it's almost 3 a.m. You know, the witching hour. He's all alone out there, or at least that's what he thinks.
So through all that pouring rain, his headlights catch something. It's a woman, just standing there on the side of the road, holding a little bundle tight to her chest. So what does he do? He pulls over and offers her a lift. And she just gets in. Doesn't say a single word.
And they're just driving in this super creepy total silence. Finally, as they're getting close to the town she'd pointed to, Jagannath turns to her, to ask where exactly she wants him to drop her off. And this is it. The moment that just freezes him. She's gone. Poof. The passenger door never opened. The truck didn't even slow down. The seat right next to him is just empty. Okay, well, not completely empty. That bundle she was holding, it's still there. On the seat, he's shaking, right? But he unwraps it, and inside is just a piece of clothing, completely soaked in blood. That's it, the only proof that any of this was real. So after that night, things go from bad to absolutely terrifying. For the next 15 days, she is everywhere. But only at 3 a.m., he'll see her reflection standing right behind him. She'll appear in the middle of the highway, forcing him to swerve like crazy. One time, he even sees her just sitting on the hood of his truck while he's flying down the road. And the whole time, not a word. She just stares with those blank, empty eyes. Jagannath is just about losing his mind at this point. He knows this isn't just some random ghost. He's desperate for answers. And that search eventually leads him to a sadhu, a wise, holy man, someone who can supposedly see the things that other people can't. And what the sadhu tells him is just bone-chilling. He says, "You're not being haunted by one spirit. It's two, a mother and her child." He explains they died an unnatural death. And then comes the big one. He tells Jagannath that whatever happened to them, it's connected directly to him. Then the sadhu points out a huge clue. The number 10. It's been exactly 10 years since Jagannath cleaned up his act. That is no coincidence. See, this whole haunting, it's not random. It's a debt. A debt from a decade ago that is finally coming due. So to break this curse, or whatever it is, the sadhu gives him a mission. It sounds simple, but it's not. He has to go back to that exact spot on the highway where he first picked her up. The sadhu tells him, look, the answer isn't to fight this ghost. The answer is to dig up a memory you've buried deep, deep down. So Jagannath heads back to that lonely stretch of road. He stops at one of those little roadside tea stalls and just casually asks the old guy running it, "Hey, anything weird ever happen around here?" And the old man starts telling him this local ghost story about a cursed spot right up the road and a horrible accident that happened there about, you guessed it, 10 years ago. And as the old man is telling this story, it's like a dam breaks in Jagannath's mind. It all comes flooding back. A night he was driving drunk, a sickening thud, that feeling of his tires rolling over something soft. For 10 years, he told himself it was just an animal. He panicked and he just drove off. But now, he knows the truth. The driver in that story, that was him. So this whole time, he wasn't being haunted by some random spirit. He was being haunted by his own victims. And with that absolutely gut-wrenching realization, he knows the running is over. It's time to face what he did. So that very night, at exactly 3 a.m., he drives back to the site of the crash. He parks the truck, gets out into the dark, and he just waits. He's not there for a fight. He's there to surrender. And when she appears, he just collapses to his knees. And he lets it all out. He confesses everything. That he was drunk, that he was a coward for not stopping. He just begs her, punish me, kill me. He truly believes that his life is the only thing he can give to make it right. But what she says next, nobody could have seen this coming. The spirit tells him that killing him would be an escape. Too easy. Real punishment, she says, is living with what you've done. That feeling of guilt, that's a fire that burns way hotter than any funeral pyre. This was never about revenge. So if it wasn't about revenge, what was it about? Well, it was about something else entirely. It was about finally acknowledging the truth, about confession, and in the end, about finding two very different kinds of peace. She explains that all she ever wanted was for him to admit it, to say what he did. It was his confession, him finally accepting the blame, that gave her child's soul the peace it needed to finally move on. And that's when it all clicks for Jagannath. Okay, he's found a kind of spiritual peace by confessing to his victim, right? But he knows that's only half the battle. Now he has to face our laws, human laws, and seek legal justice for his crime. So the very next morning, he calls his wife. He tells her he's not coming home. He's on his way to the police station to turn himself in. And then he says something really incredible. He says, for the first time in 10 years, I feel light. By finally accepting his legal punishment, he broke out of that invisible prison of guilt he'd been living in. And Jagannath's story really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? He didn't find peace because he was forgiven. He found it because he confessed, and he walked willingly toward his punishment. It really makes you ask yourself, is the act of confession, of truly facing what you've done, the most profound form of atonement there is?